So hello everyone. I'm Ibrahim. I lead the digital transformation or digital manufacturing for Celanese globally. We are a company that has 50 manufacturing sites across almost all regions: Americas, Europe, Asia, and we make all kinds of products from things that go into paints, adhesives, chemicals, automotives, electric vehicles, 5G, food ingredients, you name it. You probably have encountered some of our Celanese products in your everyday lives. And because of that, we have a very diverse manufacturing setup. We do continuous, we do batch, we do compounding. So there's a lot of diversity in how our facilities are, which gives us a challenge in digital transformation also, which is quite exciting, I would say. So uh, about 3 years ago, this was really around the end of the pandemic. We started thinking about digital transformation, and the real need started with us because during COVID-19, it became a reality to us to have the ability to access data remotely, ability to support our facilities globally, remotely, because people couldn't be at the sites. We couldn't travel. There was all kinds of travel restrictions, and the virus was spreading. And it really gave us the opportunity to really start thinking about what would the future look like for us in the next 15 or even 10 years if we embarked on digital transformation. So the first thing we did was, and it's really interesting for us, is that when you really start thinking about digital, you get surrounded by what I call technology mafia that wants to sell you all kinds of different products, softwares, and tools, and you start deploying those nice shiny toys, and then you end up with this big mess of spaghetti of tools and technology, and your cost of your technology stack also goes up, and functionalities are overlapping. What we really wanted to do was to we slightly embarked on that journey, but we really put a pause to that and took a step back and really started asking ourselves, what is our vision? What is our aspiration? What is our dreams? And what is the time horizon for that dream to happen? So it was quite simple for us as a manufacturing leadership team. We got together and we really came up with three aspects of the vision. We want predictability. It doesn't matter if it's predicting failures. It doesn't matter if you're predicting or forecasting things at your facilities. We want the ability to optimize your plants in real time. We want self-learning, self-adapting, and self-optimization. And the last aspect, remote and autonomous, was really important for us. We want access to data. We want the ability to access it remotely. We also want to make sure that we're removing mundane and repetitive tasks, and also moving people out of harm's way where we can automate things and really reduce risk. But a vision is not just for the heck of it. It really needs to have a bottom line impact. So we looked at, if as a company as large as ours was to embark on this vision, what kind of bottom line impact would we have? We did do an analysis. It was a bottoms up exercise across the entire enterprise. If we went through a certain time horizon, we looked at 10 years, what that would mean in terms of the value drivers for us, making safe, optimized products with the right quality for our customers. What would that look like? So it really was a large number for us, so we decided to embark on it. So we put together a vision and our dream, and we started looking at, okay, we need to define certain guiding principles. What are the guardrails for this journey, right? So we looked at, one of the things that you'll see on the slide here is on the second bullet, which is human-centered digital design. So I grew up in refineries and chemical plants, and one of the things that I passionately feel is important is that we're not just randomly throwing digital tools at our people. We really have to think about a human-centric strategy or a people-centric strategy. And what that means is, if you think about, a pipe leaks in your facility, an operator would have to put a ticket or a notification in an incident management system. And that goes to the safety folks, for example. You have to put in a ticket into the SAP or a CMMS system to create a maintenance repair notification so that we can put a clamp or repair the pipe. We'll put a ticket into a shift logbook system, put some actions to somebody, send emails, talk to a shift supervisor. And the churn one event creates is quite interesting because the person is only doing things to support the tool or the work process that has been defined for that siloed process. So we wanted to get out of this mindset of the digital transformation is not about processes, it's not about data, it's not about the technology, but it's really about the people. And it doesn't matter if your vision or your aspiration or your operating model has more people or less people. You really have to build a digital architecture around your people so that you can optimize them, you can inspire them, you can maximize them every day in, day out when they're at their jobs. And that is the only way you will generate value, because value doesn't happen by digital. It happens by people using your technology to create the bottom line impact. And that's one of the most important aspects of our guiding principles. Everything that we do, we think about the operating model that we have and how we build around that. Because we wanted a human-centric digital design and the way we wanted to do it, it really brought us to, we need a platform-based architecture, not siloed solutions everywhere. One aspect of human-centered digital design is also trying to think about how do we also use more automation, more AI, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next few slides. So one of the first few things we did was, so we've been on this for about 3.5 years. We started with a pilot unit, then we expanded it to one site, then we expanded it to 30, 50, and now across the entire enterprise. And what we did is we took a platform and we put all our manufacturing data into that platform, ingested it in real time or near real time, contextualized it. We started modeling it. We started creating this knowledge graph that started really representing our way of doing business in Celanese. You could call it a digital twin, which is represented by the data it has in the knowledge graph. And that's what we truly built, right? Over in the last, 3 years. And what that actually allowed us to do was, if you think of some of these KPIs here, the one that really sticks out is 2.5 trillion records, right? So when we started scaling the platform, we started ingesting, now last year was about 500 billion, now it's 2.5 trillion, and it will continue to grow. And we have millions and millions streaming in real time, ingesting, contextualizing, modeling, keeping our knowledge graph live and up to date. We also have more than 5,500 users accessing that data, creating value for us. What that really means is if you have so much data and you've structured it and you've created the knowledge graph, that truly opened up an amazing opportunity for us, which is now leveraging artificial intelligence to truly accelerate the vision we had put together. Because remember, when we talked about our vision, predictability, remote, autonomous, self-optimization capabilities, the only way to do that is to start leveraging AI at scale. And having your data foundation robustly set up and having the right technology with AI started opening up doors for us. So what we did was, the first step for us was, okay, so we have all our data organized, for 50 plus sites across the entire ecosystem of our sites. It doesn't matter if it's your P&IDs, your 3D models, your work orders, your time series data like Pi or Aspen, your incidents, your financial data. And it didn't matter what kind of files or documents you had. You contextualize all of that. And then the first thing we started doing was we started talking to your data through generative AI, right? We wanted to, and that was one of the big aspects of our human-centric design, was we don't really want to open up tools and click this button and that thing and open that tool for something else. We wanted to live in a world where we had this industrial co-pilot as your assistant and always, giving you what you need in the right moment, in the right context, wherever and whenever you needed it. And that's how this vision was born of creating what we call Jo.AI or Jo.AI. It truly is our brain that not only is about talking to your data, it's also about leveraging that as the single point of interaction of how you get your work done. So we're imagining a world if, you start leveraging Jo.AI to create work orders or notifications or action items. We don't just want to surface data and make decisions and get insights. We want the AI to execute actions also, whether it's with assistance of humans or just doing it, automatically at some point. So that's why you see on the left-hand side different personas. So we wanted Jo.AI to also be able to personalize the interactions based on the personas that we have, and surface the right data and also help execute action. So we'll show you some of the capabilities that we have been able to achieve, but it's all around having a single point of interaction, same experience, and capabilities that are consistent across different personas. Here's some examples of things our people are doing with Jo.AI. Now, in one of the first presentation, we talked about AI is not Gen AI, right? So not only that, so we're using Jo.AI and LLM as not only just to create content and have conversation in natural language, but it's also triggering agents and tools behind it that are leveraging machine learning models and different agents that are giving you different insights. So for example, if you want to know about anomalies or if you want to know about predictions, it's all part of the Jo.AI framework where the different agents are triggering different AI models, right? And the natural language is really just creating that translation layer to create the best and optimal experience for our people, so that it's one-stop shop, one kind of experience, one kind of interaction for our people. Here's some examples. You'll see here, people are looking at work order summaries, global, different languages, manufacturing reports. You can also ask it about employee information, transactional information, work orders, finding searching things. We did this development over a very short amount of time because our robust data foundation was in place for the last couple of years. We worked with Radix as a partner. They're all sitting over there. One of the best partnerships we've seen in our program to really build this Jo.AI industrial copilot that is now also available for people to buy out of the box. So I think, let me just show you some of the capabilities that are out there. Let's take a look. So this is a production live system that I actually just did a screen record earlier in the week. I'm looking for a PNID, and I'm asking for, give me the list of things you found. I find the PNID, I open it, I look at it. You don't need to open any document management system. You ask what you need, it's right there. Then the next question I'm asking is, hey, show me some of the work orders for this vessel 1682, and quickly gives you a quick overview of the 2 work orders there. And these are some of the things that our operators on the shop floor care about. What's the work order status? Where are we with that, right? They've put in some notification. They can quickly ask Joe and it will tell you. The next question I asked about time series, show me the time series or pi or whatever tags you have for this vessel. It quickly gives you that, summarizes it with min, max, averages, gives you the charts, which you can zoom in, zoom out. Here is the example of a machine learning model. I'm asking about what are the anomalies in one of our sites in Clear Lake for utilities, and it quickly lists down, gives you the tags that are contributing to that anomaly. And then I ask a question, hey, let's assign an action to Maren Matthew, and it creates the action, drafts it for you, and gives you the opportunity to look at it and submit it. And here's where we're now also executing tasks back, right? At some point, we'll just automate it fully, right? But right now, we haven't created Jo.AI to be autopilot. It's more of an assist and a co-pilot. You can ask it about injuries. You can ask about incidents, regardless of at which site, across the globe. I asked about here, PM compliance. So this is about preventative maintenance compliance, which is quite important for us for our reliability performance. Are we keeping up with that? It gives you the KPI for it. And then, you might have someone that's saying, hey, show me this in a 3D model. Now, if you have a 3D model, it will quickly put it up and show it to you where it is. And you can actually navigate it. So we do have a lot of CAD scans or point clouds or laser scans. You can start navigating it and get what you really need. And then, I'm playing with some generic questions. Where do we manufacture acetic acid? We're one of the world's largest acetic acid manufacturer. It lists, all the sites we have in Nanjing in China, Singapore, and the U.S. So that was some general searching, finding, anomalies, things that you can do. If you look at the next one, here, Jo.AI is really trained and has a different agent. We call it a troubleshooting agent underneath it, is to help operators to troubleshoot pumps or equipments when they need to, and really provide practical insights for them to execute actions out in the field, right? So let's take a look at what that looks like. So, I started recording it, after certain searches I was doing. So here an operator, this could be in the middle of the night, some rainstorm is coming, they need to empty the water in the tank, and he's asking, hey, I need to troubleshoot pump 2070. It has a low flow. The first thing it does is it verifies the details of the pump. Then we ask about what are the maintenance details around it. You look at it, maybe something has happened in the last maintenance, but you got to provide some symptoms first, right? Before we could troubleshoot it. So the operator can pick, hey, the discharge pressure is low. And then he was like, okay, so provide what are the kind of experience you're having. We say noise like rock. You can click on it like it's rocking. And it concludes that, it's likely to be cavitation, right? Then the operator is like, hey, give me some of the troubleshooting steps. It lists down some of the things it can execute, like increasing the level in the upstream to get more suction head, for example. What this Jo.AI does is, like if you go to ChatGPT and OpenAI, it will just tell you to open up the pump and do something about it. Here, all the interactions are tuned for that specific pump. It's tuned for essentially what is practically achievable in a running plant. Then it tells you like, you can't move the levels, try the suction valves. Are they open? Check for plugged filters. And then it says, okay, how do I check whether the filter is plugged without visually looking at it? And then it gives you some steps, right? Locate your pressure gauges, read the values. And these are some very basic steps, right? And then the operator is asking, hey, are there any work orders on this filter, basically? And then we noticed that there is already a work order in place which says replace the strainer, because maybe in the earlier shift they had a similar problem. They looked at the work order. They already put the suction filter replacement. So now what the operator is doing is, okay, so we know that the filter is plugged. We know why it's cavitating. What we need to do is think about switching over the pump, because he opened up the P&ID, which is available, and looked at there were 2 pumps available. You can actually swap the filters, basically, or swap the filters or swap the pumps. And now he's like, okay, show me the time series in terms of the flow. Looks like the flow has come back up. So things look good after we swap the filter. And then, you gotta be polite with Jo.AI. So you gotta thank her, right? So that's what we're gonna do. Thank you. And she was a really good assist. So here's an example of, we're just giving you some snippets of what things are possible. There's a lot of things that Jo.AI is doing. We have more than 5,000 people using this on a routine basis. It's not perfect, but it's really driving the insights that they need as a starting point, at least. Now, in this example, what we're doing is, let's look at this. So here we're asking about, is it repeating itself? No. Yeah, so here we're actually looking at analyzing data from safety, essentially, which unit has the highest number of incidents, compare the different incidents, describe the categories of incidents, basically near miss or tier 1, tier 2. Like you can tune it to whatever KPIs you're measuring, essentially. So that was just an example of showing what kind of analysis you could do. Here we're looking at summarization functionality. And this is really interesting for us. Is like, so imagine you go to a field walk, you're doing a Gemba walk, you're doing an audit, you're doing an observation, you snap a picture. So this picture here is a picture from our Pensacola plant in Florida. We upload it, It gives you a summary. It gives you some questions you can ask. The first thing we do is, what type of equipment is this? Because a lot of times we look at this picture, we think it's a pump, but it's actually not. It's an extruder, and Jo.AI really answers it quite well. And then we just start, investigating how many motors do you see in this picture. It describes it quite clearly. One blue motor. If you're doing a safety walk and a Gemba walk, you want to know what hazards are there. And it does a pretty decent job telling you what hazards it sees, basically, right? You can also ask about potential reliability issues that you should be concerned about. It gives you pretty interestingly generic answers. You can ask questions about what recommendations do you make, to make this area safer. This one is an interesting question because it's not giving you a generic answer. It's at the base of that extruder, you'll see some stuff there. And if you read the response, it's actually identifying that, you better clean up the stuff you've left behind, basically. Here is an interesting example because you might have a young rotating equipment engineer, a college graduate as an example. He's troubleshooting a pump, and the pump is out of service. They get a shaft, they take a picture, and that person is trying to figure out what kind of failure mode happened in this pump, right? He sees some stains, he sees some marks. So what's the right answer? Go to Jo.AI and ask her. So there's okay, this is what I see. This is how I found it. The damage was caused when the equipment was running. It wasn't caused when it was offline. And Joe comes back and says it's fretting corrosion, which was spot on. That was the right answer. And then, once you identify the failure mode, as an engineer, you also want to look at, hey, what are some of my options? What do I do now? How do I repair this? Do I upgrade it? So here the engineer is asking, hey, please list the upgrades for the pump. And all the answers that are coming back are pretty reasonable and accurate once the way Jo.AI responds. So looked at the upgrade options. Now the engineer is wondering, hey, what are the repair options that we want to do potentially? And then Jo.AI will give you a pretty decent response on repair options also. So if you look at how Joe is behaving, is we have the same one single point of interaction. Multiple agents are doing different things. If you're looking at image recognition, if you're looking at just doing searching and finding, pump troubleshooting, figuring out if you have access to PNIDs and doing analytics, anomalies, machine learning, is all embedded in the same framework. We consider Jo.AI as the AI brain that will essentially be the single point of interaction for us as an industrial co-pilot. I can also do live demos. I do have my computer being charged there, but we can do it at the end of the session if you guys want to play around and see more things. It is available. So